All right, hey guys, today we're going to talk about a very difficult topic, and that is the Holocaust. So we're looking at it from an American point of view, although I'll give you other historical information. But remember the American perspective when I show you the video. If I have time, I'll do it in this video. I may send you another link. All right, so the essential questions are: describe the Nuremberg laws. And the Wannsee Conference was where what was discussed. Make sure you know the Wannsee Conference. All right, so the Holocaust. So the idea originally is that the Germanic people, the Aryans, felt that they were better than people from the Middle East, the Semites. So I'll go ahead and reference this book, Chosen for Destruction. This is the story of Morris Glass. Mr. Glass is the gentleman who came to us last year and talked to us in the assembly in May, and he was a Holocaust survivor. He, in the book, he describes here with my history professor from college, Dr. Carolyn Happer. They describe how the Jews were targeted, since the time of Jesus, okay, literally, by different groups and mistreated and executed and all sorts of things. So Mr. Glass talks about that. In his book, he talks about growing up Jewish in Poland and how there was anti-Semitism all around, okay? It's important to note that the Germans don't invent anti-Semitism, okay, but they will continue that hatred and they will build upon it in such a massive way that will lead to the Holocaust. All right, so the idea was that Jews were to be hated, and this whole system was called anti-Semitism. Hitler's going to write about Aryan superiority. He will blame the Jews for the hardships of Germany. He will blame the Jews for the World War I loss and for the economic depression that Germany faced, etc. So he begins Holocaust, which is the murder of 6 million European Jews. Not to minimize any death and destruction, but, just think about how we have been in our country, even though you were very young when it happened, affected by 9/11, where over 2,000 people died in one day. This is 6 million people. And certainly it's over a time period, but that is a massive number of people that are targeted and executed, and in many cases tortured before they were executed, starved. I can't even describe to you the hardships that they're going to face. So, a couple of pictures here. We're going to get into the Nuremberg laws that are going to target Jews. So I'm going to show you already, just to show you something before I teach that to you. It says Germany makes drastic rules governing Jews. So Germany is going to target the Jewish population and make rules about them and restrict their behavior. And that's kind of how it begins. So it says they're going to boycott Jewish businesses, the Nazis will, encourage other German citizens to boycott Jewish businesses. The Nuremberg laws takes away German citizenship from a German Jew. So there are Jews living in Germany, and they always have. They were born there, and now their citizenship will be stripped of them because of the Nuremberg laws. They were forced to stitch a yellow star, known as the Star of David, on their clothing to symbolize that they were a Jew. For example, this. Okay? So this was stitched onto your clothing. So everywhere you went, you were singled out as a Jew. Okay? It says Hitler combined the Gestapo, which was the secret police, with the Schutzstaffel, which is an elite guard. And we know then, we don't say Schutzstaffel, we say SS. So the SS were an elite guard, And you would know an SS soldier by this SS on his lapel. Okay, now you see early on we don't have swastikas here. This is the German cross that we've talked about is in our classroom over here on the wall on the German World War I flag. So Schlestaffel will be, SS will be put on their lapel to signify that they are of the SS. So SS is an elite guard, and they are going to be in charge of carrying out the Holocaust. Now, there are many other Germans who are in the military. They are not involved in the Holocaust. They're involved in fighting World War II on the front, on the war front. But the Schlestaffel are in charge of the Holocaust behind the scenes. So they guarded the concentration camps. A concentration camp is a work camp. It is where all these Jews were brought in or concentrated in, and then they were forced to work. Kristallnacht was called also known as the Night of Broken Glass. And this is where Nazis are going to destroy Jewish stores, homes, synagogues, burn their churches, a synagogue, arrest many, many Jews. So you see the violence is building here. We take away their citizenship with the Nuremberg laws. We force them to put a Star of David on their chest. We have this SS going around tormenting people. Night of Broken Glass, Kristallnacht, tearing up their stores and things, and then later putting them in concentration camps. Here is a picture of Kristallnacht. So the Night of Broken Glass, literally all the glass in the stores that were owned by Jews were broken, and people looted the store. Okay, so that's that. All right, many Jews are going to try to flee Europe. Mr. Glass, whom I mentioned in the book, he is going to have an uncle who does leave, is able to get out, and comes to America. But unfortunately, Mr. Glass and his family do not. All right, genocide. So as Germany takes over other countries, it just spreads its terror to the Jews living in these other countries. And then we have the Wannsee Conference. So I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Here's another Kristallnacht picture of a synagogue. So you see, I mean, it's just basically a shell. So they're going to spread this terror to every country that they invade. At the Wannsee Conference, Nazi officials meet on what's called the, quote, final solution to the Jewish question. The Jewish question was, what are we going to do with all these Jews? I mean, they thought of them as worse than dogs. They wanted to get rid of them. How are we going to get rid of them? What are we going to do where we can actually carry it out against this many people and be effective? I mean, it's interesting that how anyone can sit over a steak with them and a glass of red wine and discuss how you're going to murder 6 million people as you're eating your meal and your dessert. Okay? So that is a serious hatred that they had against the Jews. It says the final solution was a decision to rid Europe of all Jews and other undesirables. And this is an important point. We think of the Holocaust as just against Jews, but it was actually against anyone who wasn't Aryan or Germanic. Okay? And that included, even if they were Aryan or Germanic but handicapped, they were considered undesirable. So they were killed. So handicapped people were killed, Jehovah's Witnesses were killed, homosexuals were killed, gypsies were killed, anyone who lived an alternate lifestyle killed. Okay, and it says they were involved in death camps. So you have concentration camps on one hand, and then you have death camps on the other. A concentration camp was a work camp. They literally worked the people to death in many cases, but they worked them. Mr. Glass was in a work camp. Okay, so he worked, and many people around him would die because of typhoid and other diseases, malnutrition, just hypothermia, lots of problems. But their job was to work for the German government in building all kinds of things for the war, okay, or digging ditches or whatever they needed. Other camps were death camps. Literally, you were trucked into the camp by train. and you got off of the train and you were marched into the showers, is what they called them, and they would put everyone in this huge room and close this vaulted door, and then they would turn the shower on, but it wouldn't be water, it would be gas. And normally their plan was to do certain things to trick people into thinking they were really going to take a shower. And in some work camps, they did take you in and bathe you and they sprayed some horrible thing on Mr. Glass. So he said it burnt his skin, and he thought it was to prevent lice, but they also shaved his head and then sprayed him with this disinfectant that burned him after they gave him a shower. And anyway, so I'm saying that these people in death camps may have assumed they were going to take a shower like Mr. Glass, did in the work camp, but in fact it was gas. And they deliberately murdered all these people. Death camps were set up, specifically 6 in Poland. The Polish Jews will be executed more than any other Jewish people in any other country because Germany invades Poland first. So they are the first to experience the horrors of Nazism. Okay, concentration camps are established. I already said that. Auschwitz is one of the camps that had the showers. Elderly children, those who are too weak to work, are killed first. Some prisoners were kept to carry the dead, and literally that was your job. Now, Mr. Glass did that. He carried a lot of dead people as his job. So the prisoners' heads were shaved, and numbers were tattooed on their arms. Diseases rampant. So they had the famous number tattooed on their arm, and their head was shaved. Rescue. Some Jews were liberated by the Allies. This is where Elie Wiesel wrote the book Night. He is a survivor of Buchenwald. Here he is. And this is an awful picture. Literally, when they would open the doors of these barracks, it was nothing but a piece of wood, and they would lay on that. Some were laying on concrete floors with almost no clothing, as you can see. Starving to death. Emaciated, starving to death. So really, really awful. The Nuremberg trials were to basically put these Nazi leaders on trial. Only 12 received death sentences. Which is really amazing. Only 12 out of all the SS received death sentences. Okay, I'm going to make another video and put it in Google Classroom that has a clip of a band of brothers, which is true, based on a true story of the 105th Eagle Division, the Screaming Eagles, that go into and liberate one of the camps. And you will see how they stumble upon it. The Americans had no idea that Hitler was doing this. No idea. So they're going to go in and liberate this camp and find these people. And they have to figure out, who are these people? And why are they put in here? And then they figure out that the Germans did it. Also, I want you to notice in the video clip that the man who they call up to interpret, he's an American GI, and he speaks German and English. They call him up to interpret from the prisoners when they find the camp. He himself is an American Jew. So watch his reaction when he finds out that these people are only in there primarily because they're Jewish. Okay, I will upload that now. You guys need to go back and do your essential questions. The Nuremberg laws were laws that stripped the German Jews of their citizenship. Wannsee Conference is where the final solution is discussed to the Jewish question. The final solution was murder 6 million people. And how are we going to do that? They figure out how they're going to do that is primarily through gas. And then just dumping massive graves of bodies. But gas is primarily the way to do it. They're going to fight the war on the backs of these Jews also who work for them. And they see really, well, not quick enough, but they finally see that that doesn't work. Because if you don't feed these people, they can't work very hard for you. And that will be a problem. Okay, also go back and do your summary at the end of these notes, okay? And watch the video next.